Welcome to the Fabulous 50s and Beyond. I'm Jim Pollard, co-host with my wife Jeanetta. Today we're going to be talking about giving back to the community. And there are several ways that you can do that, and one of the ways that we're going to talk about is doing disaster relief work. We're going to talk about Jeanetta's trip to Schenectady, New York, where she spent almost 2 weeks in preparing food for flood victims there in the New York area. So you stay tuned and we'll be right back.
And he'd say, go with what you got. Start from where you are. Give it your best shot. Keep reaching for that star. Get in the race. Keep your own pace. Keep moving and never stop. Just go. Go with what you got.
Welcome back. My guest today is my wife, Jeanetta, and we're going to be talking about two of her projects. She has a lot of projects that she gets involved in during this year in giving back to the community, and we hope that you're involved in some of the projects also. Let me say in the beginning that if you would like to have more information about the two projects that we're talking about today, you'll be able to find more information at our website, and our website is thefabulous50s.net. That's thefabulous50s.net. So I hope that you would go there and you'll find an email address where you can get in touch with us if you want to find out more information about these projects. And also on these projects, we talk about some of the training that's required, and especially in the disaster relief work. We hope that sometime in January, we'll be able to conduct a training class. To do disaster relief work today requires certification. Certification involves like a half a day-long class, picture ID, and some checking. This is all required by Homeland Security now when you go into other areas to do work. So today, Jeanetta's going to tell us about her trip to Schenectady, New York. She asked me to kind of tell how it got started. Actually, I went into my office on, I think it was a Thursday. Sat down at my computer and clicked it on, and I get the email request from the Baptist Disaster Relief, and there was relief asking for volunteers to go to New York, and that they were going to leave soon. Well, I made a phone call, come to find out it was 12 o'clock our time. They were leaving at 3 o'clock that afternoon. So in a period of 2 hours, we were able to get everything together and ready for her to leave to go to Schenectady with how many? It was 4 other ladies, 5 other ladies?
There were 4 other ladies in the car. 4
other ladies and Jeanetta in the van, and they started their long trek to Schenectady, New York. So I'm going to let you pick up there and tell us about it. I know there was a lot involved, so you tell us some of the things.
Well, we, first of all, we went to outside of Louisville, and we spent the night at a mission retreat place, and so we could each have a bedroom. And then after that, we took off the next day up north, going north to New York, and he pronounced the word for you. I have a hard time with Schenectady. But anyway, and there was a lot of us going. It wasn't just our van. We had a tractor trailer that pulled our kitchen things so that we would be able to cook when we got there. And also, they had another tractor trailer truck that held 6 shower stalls. It held a room where you could do your laundry, except we didn't have to do our own laundry. We took it in there. There were 2 gentlemen that were nice enough to do our own laundry, the laundry for all of us, and we would go back in a couple of days and pick it up. We worked with a church in this city, and I said I felt a little bit in sympathy with the pastor because he was coming to this church. It was his first weekend there. He had, on Saturday, he had to have a funeral for his song leader's sister had died, and this was kind of traumatic for them. But he had to do the funeral, and then he had all of us coming in on top of that. So it was a bit much for a pastor that was just beginning his work there. But he was young, and he did a great job. And the church people were wonderful. They We slept in their Sunday school classes, and they helped us in any way and every way that they could. As Jim said, the purpose of this was to feed the people who could not feed themselves because of, you know, they'd been flooded or there were other reasons, but whatever the reasons, we were there to help them. And we prepared one meal one day for 10,000 people. And we were up at 2 a.m. some mornings doing this work so that we could get the meals out on time. And if it wasn't 2 a.m., then a lot of times it was 4 or 5 a.m., which I didn't know those figures were still on the clock in the morning, but they were. And it was, like I say, it was a great trip. We were able to, there were a lot of people who came to help us. It wasn't just us, because we would never have gotten 10,000 meals together. And they did need these. And some days maybe we get to go take a little nap in between, but not every day. We just kept on trucking. And actually there was only 2 days when we left that church grounds, even for a couple of hours. We were there and we were busy doing things.
Well, now, it rained on y'all most of the time y'all were there too, even still raining with the water flowing, right?
It did rain, yes. It did rain on us several days.
And then one night y'all had a tornado come through.
Yes, we did. There was a tornado warning for our church area, and many of us were in the church, and so we went and stood between the walls. And there was another city, though, that was out of town a little ways. It was not as fortunate as we are. The tornado did not hit us, but this little area they did hit. And one of the things that I really enjoyed about the trip so much was the fact that they had told us that we could go with the people to deliver the food to some of these places, so we could see the people who were actually getting the food. And the ambulance drivers were the ones who were taking the food out and delivered it. So I was excited about doing that, and I volunteered as soon as we could to go and do that. And I got the driver, and he was kind of negative. He said, well, you know, so there's not many people out there in this area they gave to us, and nobody's going to be standing in line to get food and all that. I said, well, do you not want to go? He said, no. He says, I have to go. I said, okay. I said, let's go and we'll find somebody. So we took off and we drove around a little bit, and then he says, I remember this morning when I watched the news. He said, I saw where this tornado hit this little town, which was just I don't know how many miles from us, maybe 10 or 15. And he said, I think maybe we should go there. And I said, well, I think you're right. And so we went down the highway and we found this little town. There was a church there on the corner, and he stopped, and he was getting enthused about the work now, you know, like we were. And he went out, he says, oh, we brought y'all food, and he was telling them how many and how much and everything, and I could just see that girl said, you know, it was more than they expected. But we gave them some food, and then we went on down the road, and it wasn't long till we came to a fire station. And there were several people there, so we got out and we talked to them and see if they wanted food, and they said yes. And we got food for them out. And then they asked us if we could fix more, because they had people up in the hills and the mountains that were close to their house that they wanted to take this food to. So actually what we did is we had hot dogs, a delightful meal, you know. But, you know, if you haven't had anything, a hot dog is good, and hot dogs are good anyway. So we started fixing the meal, and the driver was helping me. He had his assistant helping, and what we were doing is we were putting the hot dogs in the buns and on the plate, and then we had baked beans, and we had applesauce, and I don't remember what all that we had, but we were fixing those plates, and they were taking them, and the people themselves were taking the food up to the mountains, and that was an exciting time, you know, just to see what your work was doing. And then when we got through, we went back to the church, and there were a lot of people there and they were all sharing their different experiences. And this is, if you haven't been on a mission trip, you need to go, because you know, you see so many people who are helping different people, and it makes you good to feel that you have done a little something. And we did a lot, because when you take 10,000 meals, and then we were doing, another day we were doing a lot of sandwiches, and we had a lot of people who came in to help us, and we just had like a line where one was having the bread, and one had the meat, one had the cheese, and they were putting them together, and then we put them in a cooler to take to someone else the next day. One thing that was kind of funny that happened is we worked different areas, and it was my day to work the kitchen where we ate our food. And I went in there, and Joanne, who was in charge of the kitchen, she said, where's our food for today? You know, talking about the workers. I said, well, I don't know. And she started looking, and she couldn't find it anywhere. Well, we had been fixing 300 meals for a mission, and someone had told them just to take all the boxes under the table, and they had done that, and our food was in that bunch that they took. So, and the pastor came in, and because he usually ate lunch with us, and he said, I see we have the same thing we had yesterday, roast beef, and then we said yes. And I explained to him, you know, why that we had that. I said, I have a feeling that mission needed those meals. And he said, I would agree with you. So.
Well, you know, essentially, and some of the things that people don't realize is how organized the Baptist Disaster Relief is. Because like you said, I remember you telling me that they took the shower trailer, they took the food preparation trailer, and this is a pretty thoroughly completed food preparation trailer. It has the kettles on it and everything on it.
Oh, yes.
and prepared, and said no sooner than y'all got their 2 tractor trailer loads of food came in for y'all to offload to have to prepare. And so that's interesting that you know, it is an organized effort, and there's not a lot of way. And a lot of times the press, I think, gets it wrong, because this is an organized effort and things are done. And so let me say, we're about out of time for this segment, but again, I want to encourage people, if they want to know more about doing this, they need to go to our website, which is thefabulous50s.net, and then they can find out more information about how to get involved. Can you wrap up in a minute what you've got to say here?
Yes, I was just thinking about what you said. When Hurricane Andrew hit Miami, we lived in Fort Lauderdale, and the Southern Baptists were the first ones to be there with their food to feed the people. And this really does make you feel good about being a Southern Baptist.
Right.
Not that everybody else is not good, you know.
Well, and there are other people who worked with y'all while you were there. I mean,
oh, yes.
That you weren't all Southern Baptists. I mean, there was other people that were involved in the disaster relief. And so again, if you're interested in doing some of this work, go to our website and email us and let us know that you are interested, so that we can have your name ready when we do our training, because that's going to be really important. I want to say also that the church fed y'all one night, didn't they?
They did. Yes, they did.
And
they were very, very wonderful to work with. They really were.
Well, that's good. And it seems like this has been a very busy year for disaster relief work. And we hope next year is not that busy, but if it is, we want you to know that you can do this work also. So thank you for that, honey. And we'll be, in our next section, we're going to talk about another way where you can give back to the community. And it's a favorite project of my wife, and it's called the Christmas shoeboxes. So we want you to stay tuned for that section also, and we'll be right back.
We didn't have much to give then. So when they showed up firing them mean looks around the place and staring us down on prices, well, I was angry. Didn't seem to bother my father, though. He had me load another bushel of apples in their trunk. I learned later on that this family was in need.
The greatest gift we give, it's in our heart what we believe. way we live.
Caring for others. Pass it on.
Welcome back. In this segment, we're going to talk about Operation Christmas Child shoeboxes. And this is a project that Jeanetta has been involved in for a lot of years. I don't know how many, but not only has she been involved in fixing the shoeboxes herself, the toy boxes, but she has encouraged other people to do that, and that's exciting that now we have other quote-unquote disciples who are fixing these boxes and sending them in also. So honey, I'm gonna let you go in, but let me just say that this is something that's been going on for 18 years now, right? And that the last year the boxes went to over 130 countries. So tell us a little about and show them about what you do there, honey.
Well, this is a project that Franklin Graham started, and it has, I'm sure it has gone beyond anything that he ever thought it would. Because they did, I believe they delivered over 7 million boxes last year. And every year it grows. What you do if you want to do a shoebox is you get you a box. Now, you do not have to wrap it, but I always wrap mine because they say, these kids that these are going to, they say many of them have never had a toy. They've never had candy like we know it. They've never had any of these things. So this is what we do. We, here's a little animal. This is just some of the things I put. I threw this one together. It's not done. Little hats, coloring crayons, soap. These are just some of the things that we send school supplies, we send pencils, we send paper, we send hygiene supplies, you know, like soap and combs and.
By the way, let me say, if you send soap, be sure and put it in a plastic bag. That way the fragrance or the perfume doesn't get all over everything else in your bag.
That's right, and especially the candy. You don't want,
right.
you don't want a soap taste in there.
Right.
But coloring crayons, it's just, and what I do is I actually collect things all year long. When I see something on sale for $1 or something, I go get it. This little shirt I bought for a little girl, and one thing you do have to do is you have to put on the outside of your box, you have to put a sticker if it's a girl or a boy, whichever one it is, and then there's age groups for you to mark, whatever age they are. You can mark that. But really, we try to get them hygiene products, we try to get them school supplies, and things that they'll just enjoy, toys and candy and all these things like this.
I think one of the stories that I really liked that was told last year was about the box of socks. You want to tell that story?
Yes, that was, they do take these boxes that we send to different places and someone goes through them to make sure that everything's okay. And they came across this box that had nothing but white socks in it, and they thought, well, that's kind of weird. But they are told that whatever's in that box is what is supposed to go. So what the story was is this young man had some kind of foot disease, and they had told his parents that he needed to wear nothing but white socks. And they had no white socks and had no earthly idea where they get white socks. And yet, this, no telling how many countries it went through before it got to the person that needed them, but it got there. And I think that's just a phenomenal thing that God does, just working out these things and sending them to people that really, really need them. And then I also heard a story about this little boy got a shoebox, and he told him he didn't want a shoebox, he wanted parents. And it ended up that those people who had gotten their shoebox, that they ended up adopting him. And so these are just, there's a lot more stories. And when they bring the shoeboxes in, that is not the end of their ministry. They actually have, like, I guess we would call it Vacation Bible School. And they have literature that they give these kids, and they study it, and they learn from it. And they're just thrilled to death. Some of the pictures of the kids are just just really, you can tell by their faces how thrilled they are. Now, this project is almost up on us. There's collection dates that you have to have these in by, and they're starting collecting November 14th, and they go through the 21st. Now, don't wait till the last minute, because we almost missed our 1 year.
Yeah, and
So,
by the way, we're going to have all this information also again on the website. There'll be a section there for you to look at under the with the symbol that they have on the Operation Christmas Child. We'll have all the information there, the dates of when the collections are going to be in our area. Also, we'll have a connecting link to their website that tells you what to put in. They also have where you can actually download and print off your labels. You can do that. We've done that in the past also when we needed more. So, and you'll get a lot of information. I think they got 4 or 5 videos there where they talk about
they have videos.
Work that has gone on in different countries and how it's worked. So there's a lot of information that's online. And we know that some of you who are watching this show are watching it online. So you know how to use your computer, and you know how to go get online and go find out this information. So we encourage you to do that.
They have their phone number on there. It's 1-800-353-5949. You can call them up, or like he says, if you just go to the internet, you can find out any information you want to about them. And it's just a tremendous thing that Franklin Graham started many years ago.
Now she puts, she got a pair of socks in there, right? Mm-hmm. Got a pair of socks and a tablet, a coloring book.
Coloring book.
And of course the crayons to go with.
Hairpiece.
Hairpiece for the girl. And another thing she likes to buy these little metal cars. All the boys love their cars. Used to be called Hot Wheels, but now there's so many of them out there. And you can buy this stuff very reasonable. And it's really important that you do that. She shops year round. She waits until the end of a season at some of the department stores when they mark the merchandise way down to $1, $2, and then she buys this merchandise and puts it away for the shoe boxes. And and another thing is that we try to put in a tablet sometimes. And if you're looking when the school supplies go on sale just at school starting, I know in the past we've bought these spiral notebooks for $0.10 a piece. I think they were more this year, but we went in there one year, and since they were $0.10 a piece, we just bought two boxes of them, 2 big boxes, cases of them, knowing that we would use them in the boxes. So watch for the sales so that you can find this different merchandise, and then in finding this different merchandise, you can buy it at a good price, and then you can use it to send it out in these boxes. And a lot of times you can find things on sale at different seasons. Now this is a little bunny rabbit. Now I have a feeling that we bought this in the Easter sales basket, because that's what you do. You look for when things are on sale and you buy them that way, and it saves you a lot of money, and you're able to do more. So there are a lot of little tricks that you learn and that you pick up on. Go ahead.
Well, the literature that they give them afterwards is called the Greatest Journey classes, and this is where they get the Bible. They're really studying like the Bible. And they also suggest that you send them a picture of your family and write a note in there, because this is interesting to them. And I've actually had a couple of people answer me, send me
emails, right.
Right.
And another thing, they started last year. I know it started last year because we did it. I don't know whether they've done it soon or not, but they have a part of the program where if you want to, you use one of these that has a barcode on it, and you can follow to the country where your gift went,
right.
Which was pretty interesting. Do you remember where ours went last year?
No.
but you
we
can,
forgot.
But you can get these with the barcodes on them, and then later on in the year you can find out where your gift actually went. You can actually go in on the web and find out.
It's just, like I say, it's just a tremendous thing. And especially since we don't have grandkids. I guess we've adopted all these kids for our grandkids.
Right. And let me say this, it's important that we do this worldwide. We do it on a local basis also. And there is a great need locally as well as internationally, especially at this time of year when people begin to think about Christmas. So we want to encourage you to think about ways that you can give back to the community. By the time that we get to this timeline in our life, we are in a position, most of us, to where we can give back something. And you don't have to give back a whole lot, but just being able to give back something. And that's one of the things that we want to try to encourage you to do with our show here. There are a lot of local organizations that can use your help. And sometimes you say, well, I don't have money to give. That's okay. Give your time, because a lot of these organizations can use your time. And so we just encourage you to do that also.
Well, and another thing, there's been so many floods and everything. I think there's even been a shortage of clothes, which is not something that we always have around here, but I think well, they're advertising right now for coats. And so it's just, you know, dig in your closet, get rid of some of the stuff you don't ever wear.
Right. I mean, some of the stuff we know has been in there that you hadn't touched in 3 or 4 years. So get it out and give it away and let somebody else get used to it. Go ahead.
We have been doing that.
We have been doing that, right. Well, you know, we're out of time again, honey, and it's been a great show. And again, let me remind you to go to our website, which is thefabulous50s.net, and we'll have links to where all of these different programs and these different things, to where you can get more involved in them if you have a desire to. So we just encourage you to do that. Remember to tune in again to our next show. We look forward to having more shows and talking about the different things that are going on in our community and encouraging you to take part in them. So you do that, and remember, use it or lose it.
Can't see as well as I used to. Can't run as far or as fast. Sometimes I think that the old me is becoming exactly that. But when I start thinking of all I don't have, that's when I tell poor me Beethoven was 50 and deaf as a post when he wrote his Ninth Symphony. And he'd say, go with what you got. Start from where you are. Give it your best shot. Keep reaching for that star. Get